Welcome back to the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective. My name is Kaia Ra. And for those of you who are new to the Prayer Collective, I am the author and channel for the Sophia Code, which is a sacred text declaring the sovereign divinity of humanity. We've been moving this international movement along for 6 years, and I want to extend a deep, heartfelt welcome to members of the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective that have been praying and meditating with us for the entirety of that journey. It's really extraordinary to go on a journey, a collective community journey over an arc of time together. And I want you to know that I consider it such a privilege to be any part of your spiritual journey. Thank you for welcoming the Sophia Code teachings into your life as both a living transmission and a modern mystery school for directly mentoring with the Ascended Masters of the Sophia Dragon Tribe, for embodying your higher self, and for recognizing the countless star nations and angelic orders that are here to serve and support your ongoing spiritual awakening to the truth of your sovereign divinity. I'm reading from the Sophia Code to open up our prayer collective journey. Isis asked me to open to page 72. And as soon as I started reading these fears that we are clearing in the Key Code 1 initiation. So as many of you know, today is the full moon in Scorpio, and it is also a total lunar eclipse. The eclipse is what happens, a total lunar eclipse, when the sun and the moon and the earth all come into a very specific alignment. And the moon moves into the shadow of the earth. And depending on how close it goes inside that shadow, it starts to change the coloring of the full moon. And so what we're going to see tonight is what's often called a blood moon. The Ascended Masters were asking me to kind of revisit a little bit about what's happening right now in 2022. And I'm going to just do a little brief synopsis of that to remind, just a brief arc of evolution of where we're at in this year. And then we're going to go back to this reading with Isis in the Sophia Code. And I'm going to share a little bit about these tarot cards. So because there's such an intense energy with everyone gathering, I would love to call in our circle of empowerment to begin tonight's prayer call. And as we all know, we begin by visualizing a circle of sovereign empowerment, a circle of Christ light around your body, anywhere between 3 to 5 feet outside of your body. We also visualize a circle of empowerment around our community. So for that to happen, I invite you to join me within a visualization of the Temple of Sophia. And I invite you to travel in your heart like a stargate to this beautiful, beautiful crystalline white light temple, where the consciousness of the Divine Mother and all of her radiance is welcoming you home. We welcome that presence of the Holy Mother, the Divine Mother aspects of Source consciousness, God consciousness, to become very, very clear, somatically in touch with your human awareness in this moment. And then you feel the presence of God, especially the heart of the Divine Mother, falling fresh upon your awareness, buzzing within your heart, opening up your very blood vessels to be filled, and your bloodlines. My God, that was an interesting moment, with the light, the divinity of the Holy Mother, from which you have been born from. This presence, Holy Sophia, Divine Mother of all life, realigning the sun, moon, and stars within you, within this circle of empowerment, is the sun, the moon, the planet. When all of these astrological influences come into an acute alignment that is focusing you and your third eye with laser precision upon the power of your own heart to choose, to consciously choose to come into alignment with this divine will that seeks to prosper you, to benefit, to bless, and expand you far beyond your human understanding, even beyond your greatest efforts. Because when we truly come into alignment with serving divine will, as these astrological alignments are welcoming us to identify, that's what we're saying yes to in this moment. We recognize that when we truly do show up to the prayer that is praying us, to this consciousness of divinity, seeking to pour through each and every one of us as a chalice. Every human body is a chalice, the light, the divine love of God, divine mother, divine father, to pour through into this matrix, to liberate this planet, to bless all hearts and minds. When we come into a recognition that this consciousness, which becomes the Christ when we embody it here in human form consciously, this divine consciousness is able to transcend even your greatest efforts into something even more masterful and beautiful as you surrender with ever increasing measure into its perfect divine timing. Sophia is sharing with us there is a divine timing coming into alignment. As she's saying, for some of you, this has been a long-awaited moment, perhaps years in the making. So she's welcoming you to feel that full moon as though it's literally anchored within the center of your heart. There's a full moon ripeness. And the blazing radiance of that moon is bringing forward the shadow of the earth of your human experience. She's saying this eclipse, internalize it. And I honor that the presence of Sophia is here, fully activating us already, but to support the human body in this transmission, we do welcome in the 8 directions, White Buffalo Woman in the north, with the order of Sky Grandmothers supporting the Key Code 7 transmission coming forward in the north. As you blaze with that full moon transmission at the center of your heart, I also welcome the thunderous hooves of the white buffalo coming forward in the north. The grandmother's trills on high, singing the victory cries of the grandmother spiders weaving across space and time for this lifetime, for each and every returning master, with the heart of the child and the wisdom of an elder awakening now within each and every one of us. I give thanks for White Buffalo Woman activating us now, protecting us now, as well as expanding us now from the north. In the northeast, I welcome beloved Ascended Master Isis, who we honor as tonight's overlighting key code mentor. Isis, who walks us through the initiations, the underworld, the shadow, the subconscious, the death and the rebirth, the regeneration, the resurrection of our awareness to the truth of our divinity, shining as 1,000 moons, shining as 1,000 suns. Within every cell of our body, we welcome the presence of winged Isis and her golden ankh of life, overseeing and guiding this ceremonial space. In the east, I welcome beloved Hathor. I'm honoring Hathor this evening by wearing her pendant over my heart. And I'm welcoming the Hathor Star Nation who are arriving. Oh, they're quite happy about this astrological alignment. And they say, we're here to initiate you to discover that fiery tongue transmission of the Holy Spirit that's going to fall fresh upon you this evening. It's going to replace the fears and anxieties of other lifetimes with the clear, clean, and simple truth of Christ consciousness that's always ready to speak through you, beyond thought, beyond understanding, as a download of divine truth in every present moment. I welcome the power, the presence, the emerald radiance of green Tara in the southeast. Witnessing her arrival with the order of Dakinis, these fierce protectors of our journey of enlightenment. When we discover the light within us is what is bringing to light the truth of our sovereignty. Even within a matrix dedicated to slavery, we are embodying the sovereign freedom of our divinity within human form. And nothing and no one and no circumstance can ever take that away from you. And I welcome the radiant, gentle smile with the fiercely lit eyes of green Tara's joy to see you in ceremony this evening, celebrating these astrological alignments. We open our hearts to the south. And in the south, we welcome the open arms of the High Priestess, Mother Mary, who was a High Priestess of Hathor in her lifetime, trained in the oracular art of divine birthing, the ability to weave her DNA with the light DNA of a soul such as Jesus, so that he could come forth as a true avatar on this planet. And on behalf of all the avatars that have walked this earth, living in accordance with divine will, I welcome this Holy Mother, Mother Mary, who brings that presence of the Divine Mother, Sophia Source Consciousness, so near and dear to our hearts. We welcome you, Mother Mary. And above her head shines that full moon. And I'm witnessing like many waters flowing from the moon down into this circle of empowerment, blessing us, she's saying, with those Scorpio waters of true depth. That Scorpio energy brings that authentic spirituality. There's nothing surface about a Scorpio full moon. It brings us into a much greater depth and understanding the power of our pain and suffering, the pearls that are arising out of it to initiate a new paradigm of learning through divine love. I welcome Mary Magdalene and Ascended Master Jesus right next to Mother Mary in the Southwest, honoring their arrival as they stand side by side tonight, embodying those divine masculine and divine feminine Christ principles within each of them, perfectly balanced, flowing in a figure eight pattern between our two hearts. They witnessed Jesus lifting up his hands with the sun above his head, and Mary Magdalene is lifting up a full moon above her head. And I witnessed from behind them Saint Joan of Arc stepping forward, and she's lifting up the entire earth, like this vision of her lifting up the earth in her hands. And this Trinity is flanked by the entire order of Magdalena, those souls that have served the Magdalene lineage across centuries of time. And you and I are connected to this lineage, or we wouldn't be here together. And they say they are preparing our hearts, even in this invocation, that in 1 month from now, we will be gathered together in Paris, France, to place our sword in the ground and claim the sacred grounds of that beloved land dedicated to divine feminine Christ leadership between Mother Mary, Joan of Arc, and Mary Magdalene. And we take a stand for the sacred. and are witnessing the joy in their hearts as they connect to your heart, honoring your divine purpose and your connection to this ministry, the Sophia Code movement to activate humanity's sovereign divinity. They thank you for your willingness to see and hear these teachings of Christ consciousness and to embody them in your own ministry and your own leadership every day. In the West, I welcome the prolific presence of Quan Yin, who's arriving on a Sophia dragon, whose eyes are sparkling with the moonlight. They're violet, bejeweled eyes that sparkle with that full moonlight. And it is my great honor to also introduce Mahavatar Babaji, who stands behind Quan Yin, and our beloved mentor, Paramahansa Yogananda, and how he is mentoring our Sophia Circle leaders, how he is mentoring us as a platform and as a worldwide ministry for how to reach as many souls as possible in this one lifetime, and to leave behind a legacy that continues to serve generations to come for activating the Sophia Code divine genome within humanity. I give thanks and I welcome in the Northwest, the Holy Seraphim of the Divine Mother, the Sophia Dragons. I welcome these beautiful seraphim of light, listening to their scales, singing and ringing with bells of sovereignty. And they begin to anchor this temple space as well as each of your individual circles of empowerment to feel how deeply connected you are to the true planet, the planet that you came here to serve. Within the heart of her consciousness, you are held by Sophia Gaia. And there is a second Sophia Dragon Mother that spirals all the way back to the source of all of creation. And so you may feel a deepening of this circuitry, this movement of energy through your crown into your heart, down to the heart of the earth, back up from the heart of the earth, up to your heart and your physical body, back to the heart of the Divine Mother in that one source light. And we also welcome and call forth all of the archangels, guardian angels that serve in the Sophia Dragon tribe, as well as the star nations that serve as a part of the Sophia Dragon tribe. They're a part of the interstellar mission of Sophia Christ consciousness, which is to serve and awaken all species to the truth of their sovereign divinity. And we open this space honoring that this presence of our I am collective soul has welcomed us in this moment to become a unified field in which we embrace these eclipse energies together, to quantum leap together, to ground these shifts together, to expand, to take up more space together, to grow stronger with one another, and to lift one another up. The thousands of wings that we both receive and support, and as we lift and raise our own, we welcome the fullness of your higher self falling fresh upon you, flowing as a waterfall of light, as your crown chakra opens and drinks the power, the presence, the ocean of light that you are, flowing through your crown, tumbling like a waterfall down the back of your head, baptizing your eyes, rolling down your shoulders, welcoming these waves of light, filling and cleansing the back of your heart chakra, overflowing from the chalice of your heart and opening up those 3 earth chakras to drink deeply of your soul's divine light, to move and clear through your legs and open up your feet chakra to a deeper connection to the earth. And within this space, we open up to a remembrance of what is happening so far this year, so that we can evaluate this moment, this present moment, with a little bit of perspective through the compassionate witness, through Christ consciousness, to give thanks and praise to the courage and strength of your heart, navigating these extraordinary times. choosing to say yes to your personal evolution, which is directly impacting the collective awakening of humanity. I invite you to remember where we stood at the beginning of this year, back at that sovereign awakening ceremony that we stepped forward as an international community and created together with the Sophia dragons, with Isis and all the ascended masters. You chose a word at the beginning of this year. Here we stand now in May. How has that word guided you through the past 5 months? What have you chosen to embody? What have you chosen to be brave enough to face over these past 5 months? What seeds were planted through the resonance of that New Year's commitment? And I invite you to fast forward to April, when this Jupiter and Neptune conjunction really kicked off the energy of this spring and summer. We're in alignment of multiple planets going direct all at the same time for a rare window of this year. And what it felt like for many countries to finally have the relief of the pandemic finally ebbing away, and for personal liberties to come forward, and even in some cases, justice for the outrageous oppression that light workers and just humanity in general has suffered over the past 2 years. There's been a breather. And with those planets momentarily going direct in April, there was a calling, an awakening to your spiritual purpose, to your creativity, to your leadership, to your service, to your purpose for being here, and to your draw towards community. And at the closing of April, there was our first eclipse that happened right before that incredible immersive in Austin, Texas, that so many of you joined us for. And that eclipse was the beginning. Every eclipse comes in pairs. That solar eclipse was preparing your heart. It was planting the seeds for this moment, today. What is happening right now? This weekend, this week. Not only that, but we are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. So the effects of what you are considering this weekend, as well as how those choices unfold, are going to be unfolding in a delayed effect all week long, because Mercury is in retrograde. The eclipse is happening in a retrograde, which is actually perfect, because this eclipse is helping you integrate the decisions you made 2 weeks ago in slow motion, so that there's just no turning back. The lesson is going to be so deeply imprinted within your heart and mind. So I invite you in this moment, what was the prayer that was praying you 2 weeks ago? How were you being invited to your next level expansion? What were you starting to feel the inspiration for, but you had no idea the inspiration was going to require a very deep letting go to allow yourself to step into that new field? So this evening, I asked to be shown 3 cards from the traditional tarot deck to guide tonight's visualization with the Ascended Masters. And they showed me to pull out the Moon card and the Sun card from the deck, and to pull the card of the Earth, the human between, right? Because we have the Earth and the human body, which is a microcosm of the Earth, in between the Sun and the Moon. right now, what is being pulled between these polarities? And the card that was pulled in the center is the High Priestess card, which actually has this crescent moon at the bottom of the card. And on the moon card, the Ascended Masters asked me to look at the actual scorpion that's coming out of the water at the base of the card. And they shared with me it's important to remember that 2 weeks ago, there was something that was attempting to come forward from your unconscious awareness from the past, whether it was a past life or many past lives. A pattern was starting to emerge because during that solar eclipse, your inspiration for an expansion and a deepening was also coming forward. And so as I stare into this moon card, they're reminding you of the value of feeling the actual feelings connected to these wounds that are arising in your consciousness during this eclipse portal. They're saying there's no way around them. But there's great value in them. I think Scorpio is one of the most misunderstood archetypal energies in the astrological map of humanity. And the truth is, some of the deepest, most poignant and lucid spiritual beings I've ever met have Scorpio prominently in their chart. Because although a Scorpio energy is often connected with sensuality, sexuality, the enlightened aspects of Scorpio energy is the most authentic, transfigurative, and transformative understanding of true spiritual meaning. Because people who have Scorpio energy can go into depths of examining wound and pain and karmic lessons in a way that flexes spiritual muscles that most people are quite intimidated to step into. I have Scorpio as my ascending sign, and it's been very impactful to finally understand what that means for me and what it means for others. And as I stare at the scorpion arising out of the waters on the moon card, the first thing the Ascended Masters asked me to focus on is that there is a path literally ahead of the scorpion. And it's a winding path, and it's going to the very top of a mountainscape. And the message that I am receiving from the Ascended Masters today, right now for you, is that the more you can feel into the authentic feeling wisdom, the intelligence, what have you survived? What have you lived through? The wisdom of that pain is rising up from the waters of your unconscious and your subconscious now, not to scare you, but because there is a great path before you to share the wisdom, the knowledge, the knowing systems, the enlightenment of that underworld healing journey that you've had to go through. And what they're sharing with me, what Sophia was sharing with me before this call, is like, today, this year, 2022, specifically, is like this huge, I felt it in Austin too. I was sharing about it on YouTube Live on Friday. It's like there is a 0 point happening right now with these eclipses. Like everything you thought you were getting ready for in your leadership, it kicks off now. And it's just the beginning, just like the scorpion is coming out of the water, and it's just the beginning of this journey ahead, all the way to the top of the mountain. And that top of the mountain is often associated with spiritual enlightenment, with that journey of full awakening. What's interesting is this scorpion has to walk through these two dogs that are howling at the moon. One looks like a domesticated dog. The other one looks like a wolf or a coyote or a fox. And what I'm hearing from the Ascended Masters is this is as the scorpion arises out of the waters, there's so much information coming from the transfiguration of the stories of pain that we have all lived to be the light workers that we are at this time, that it's almost as though the scorpion could project those feelings onto those howling dogs and miss the path, be intimidated by the path, not feel as though it could walk beyond these dogs howling at the moon. But what the Ascended Masters are sharing is like, what if these dogs were howling at the moon with you, helping you to feel this pain? What if they were like sphinxes at the beginning of your journey? What if the amplification of everything you've been feeling all weekend long, and by the way, myself is included in this, I've gotten my ass kicked all week by this astrological alignment, and I've got nothing but gratitude for it, because the feelings I have had to feel all week and weekend long, I'm having massive creative breakthroughs on my book right now that has to do with transfiguring the pain of what I survived into the spiritual gold of what I've come here to offer this world and this movement. So this path that I see before the scorpion on this tarot card, it's gold. It's golden. It's literally being blessed by this moon, by this total eclipse energy shining down, radiating down on the path of this scorpion about to begin this new journey in time. And there's two towers on the side of the card. And what I'm hearing the Ascended Master saying is that these are destiny points. They're watchtowers of destiny. And so there are specific Ascended Master key codes that are stepping forward at this moment to support you in this prayer of walking upon this path with courage and strength, even if you have to howl at this full moon to really allow yourself to surrender into the perfection of all of these feelings arising from your unconscious, arising from your subconscious, as well as what's here consciously already. As these timelines converge of past, present, and future, these watchtowers of destiny are standing by, protecting the path, watching out for you as you begin that journey towards the mountaintop. What is this eclipse initiating within you? And it's this card that I'm staring at right at the center. You're at the crossroads. I'm staring at the cross over the heart of the High Priestess, who's sitting upon the throne, her foot bearing this crescent moon. And she is at one with her divine purpose. She is at one with her mission. She is at one with her service. She has become a pillar for her community. This is what is being invoked with the full reclamation of all of our feelings and all of our lifetimes of experience. This is the crossroad of our spiritual wisdom emerging as a bridge between the moon and the sun card. And the sun card is heralding the golden age of miracles that we will be initiating over the next 10 years. But as we all know, for anyone who's spent any time in this movement, true, authentic, paradigm shifting embodiment takes time and training and willingness and practice and showing up to your leadership every day, whether you feel like it or not. Showing up to your service, knowing that this is the healing of your heart. This is how more love breaks through the old wounding. And I was talking to a dear astrologer friend the other day, and he was saying to me, Kaia, what's coming between 2024 and 2025 is so massive. When Pluto literally shifts into Aquarius, this is what we are all getting ready for, he said, because when that happens, there will be such a global shift that can go down in so many different ways. It'll be only those who have truly stepped into their light work, into their leadership, into their divine purpose, into their service, into their calling, that will really be steadfast in their embodiment, because there will be so many people to support in this great shift that's coming worldwide. And what's interesting about what's coming, because it's so much what we're going to talk about in Paris together as a community, is this non-hierarchical, egalitarian, sovereign co-leadership, which is what we as a movement are practicing with our Sophia Circle leaders worldwide. It's shifting from a completely different paradigm into another, and you are the bridge. You are literally bridging how humanity has been addicted to learning and growing and evolving through duality, polarity, and pain. And you've got one foot in countless lifetimes in that paradigm, because you were willing to incarnate through those lifetimes to then stand as a bridge, just as this high priestess is between the moon and the sun, to stand as a bridge between this paradigm that is completing itself with the heightened Luciferian cycle of annihilation on this planet, and holding the door open to a sovereign paradigm where the divinity of humanity is finally honored, and humanity begins the process of relearning non-hierarchical community evolution. That's not going to happen in a year. That's not going to happen in a decade. That's going to happen step by step over our lifetimes. That's going to be the legacy that our generation is a part of, initiating this planet and humanity into, if enough of us are activated and awakened at that divine hour. The blazing sun of Sophia Christ consciousness, awakened within enough hearts and minds, anchored and embodied within the spiritual technology of the human form, that vote counts for millions. And so this weekend, as I was processing and feeling all of the emotions and everything that was being called up from my own journey of trauma and surviving atrocities, so that I could bring forth the spiritual wisdom of what it takes to heal from that level of Luciferian suffering and torment, from slavery into sovereignty. As I felt the depth of my feelings around that journey, I felt the complexity of this angelic mission in such an acute way within my heart, my body, and my mind. And I felt such compassion for every single light worker across this world that is feeling that same level of how sophisticated and complicated this particular angelic mission, this particular lifetime really is. Because there's people that will say to you, oh, well, that's the old way, so you should just be living in the new way, where we only learn through love and light, and it should all be grace and ease. And it's just like, Yes, that is what we came to move everyone into, but to authentically embody and own that sovereign space requires the cleansing of the ages from within our body that have lived countless lifetimes and journeyed throughout much of this older paradigm of persecution, oppression, and control of the and downright destruction of the divine feminine principle. We have a full body, visionary future knowledge of what's coming, while we are simultaneously plunging the depths of what we have explored in separation from that. And so on this eclipse, surrounded by the grace of the Ascended Masters, I welcome Quan Yin, Isis, and Joan of Arc to step forward and to support your heart chakra and all of your 7 major chakras to receive a quantum healing empowerment and activation, to support the full body clearing of any unconsciously held traumas or energies that aren't even yours. If there are energies or traumas that you have been carrying in your body for others from other lifetimes or in relationship to others in this lifetime, this is the eclipse to allow divine grace to meet you in this sacred space and extract what is not yours from your body. Because the old paradigm is that we carry the pain and suffering and punishment of others within ourselves for them. The old paradigm is somehow we will suffer enough on their behalf that it will be transmuted through us. The new sovereign paradigm is everyone gets to do their own spiritual journey. Everyone gets to walk in the grace, fire, and holy power of their own divinity. Everyone gets to discover the High Priestess within their own heart, initiating them step by step by step, one step at a time. That's the new path. The Scorpion on the moon card is initiating us to walk upon. What does it mean to lead through sovereignty? What does it mean to serve through sovereignty? What does it mean? What does it feel like to know that the rays of the sun from that sovereign future are already reaching you here and now in this present moment, inviting you to walk further down that path where other sovereign souls are ready to meet you, support you, and grow with you side by side in exciting new ways. Maybe for the first time in your entire life. When you look back over the past 2 weeks, what has come forward in your awareness that you're ready to receive the opposite of, the healing of, the wisdom of, the blessing of? You may begin to feel Saint Joan of Arc begin to extract out of your back any psychic attacks or misunderstanding or judgment or just things that have happened from your willingness to try to explore the difference between this old paradigm and where you are going and embodying the new sovereign paradigm. When you extract yourself from clients or community or coworkers or relationships that are in some level or in a great level codependently driven, a lot of reaction can happen. And so Joan is saying, I stand with you as you place your feet upon this sovereign path marked by this full eclipse. And so you may start to feel that extraction coming out of the back of your heart, maybe the back of your right side of your body. And Isis is bringing this beautiful starlight to your third eye chakra. She's placing this, it almost looks like very similar to the crown of the High Priestess upon your head. And you may feel like it start to unlock something down the back of your head and open up the back of your spine with this golden light, this golden liquid light ray transmission that flows all the way down to your root chakra and opens up down the back of your legs. Isis is saying this is an attunement to that sovereign paradigm where you stand a decade now from now, where you have served and led through your sovereignty and how you physically walk different in the world, physically walk different in this world because of what that sovereign service has brought to your life and the lives of others, how it changed the course of history. To stand in that sovereign solution, that sovereign paradigm that you co-created with other sovereign souls here and now. It starts now, right now. Everything we thought we were getting ready for, it was to get ready for now, which is just the beginning. Because that's how much trauma we've all been clearing for the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. It's not just your trauma. It's everyone's, because that's the old paradigm. We incarnated into the old paradigm, which means for many years, we were all playing by the rules of the old paradigm consciously. That's okay. We're big enough people, we're big enough souls to be the bridge. How do you authentically bridge between an old paradigm of how to heal and grow a collective consciousness in a new paradigm? You have to genuinely know, be the way showers of what the old paradigm was, so you can stand as a bridge for others to know the path to the new. And this is what I saw last night, that this eclipse was inviting each and every one of us to forgive ourselves because we have done nothing wrong. In fact, we should be thanking our own hearts profusely because we've done everything right, even when everyone is telling us it's wrong or not allowed or too much or not enough. You are more than enough. You are more than good enough. You are some of the bravest souls standing on this planet. That's what this eclipse is inviting you into. The initiation to stand as the High Priestess, witnessing humanity choosing to either wake up or remain asleep, and you choosing to remain in your sovereign embodiment regardless of their choice. That's the beginning of the sovereign paradigm, where you no longer sacrifice your seat upon the throne because others refuse to step forward. There's enough of us stepping forward that we are going to create the sovereign paradigm, whether the masses decide to come or not. We will expand God consciousness in such a way that we will even create a higher dimensional reality that people will physically live in. And I really feel that's where Hathor steps in this moment, and she's saying, hey, expand your consciousness. Take up more space. Stop playing small and let that really God-given support to come in right now. Whether it's for your family or your partnerships or your businesses or your career. Something's going to change for you this week. And whatever that is, I invite you to join me in that mantra Yes, thank you. I accept. I receive. If something literally disappears out of your life this week, it's because something exemplary wants to come in. I also invite you to share, speak that affirmation as well for who you are in this world. Yes, thank you. I accept, I receive myself as the living bridge of consciousness that's daring humanity forward into sovereignty. I shed the old scales, the old identification to a paradigm that would expect me to sacrifice myself like a blood offering for the spiritual redemption of a client or a community or a town or a future. And I stand as the bridge, knowing that the radiance of Christ consciousness is what is here to blaze forth and to transfigure this world. It's a consciousness that's so much bigger than any human sacrifice that I could make. So I shift my consciousness through gratitude to say, yes, thank you. I accept, I receive the living human chalice that I am overflowing with my divinity. Yes, thank you. I accept, I receive the living human chalice that I am overflowing with my divinity. Yes, thank you. I accept, I receive the living human chalice that is overflowing with the love and the divine power of my divinity into this world. What a difference. Oh, and I stare at this High Priestess card. It's like we're moving off of the physical cross, the crucifixion situation, which is the old paradigm, where the four directions of the cross is over her heart. And what is it saying? The heart is the path. The heart is the transfiguration, the life of this priestess, the embodiment of her awakened consciousness. That is the crossroads we are at. That is the crossroads you are at. That is the crossroad I am at. That is the crossroads that our movement is initiating humanity into, to the very best of our ability, one day at a time, 1 year at a time, one event at a time, one mystery school curriculum at a time, one certified leader at a time. And as I turn my eyes to the Sun card, I'm reminded of Joan of Arc and how she rode into battle. Of course, her sword was strapped to her horse. Who would ride into battle without a sword? But she rode on that beautiful black war horse with her military standard, the banner that she designed herself. She literally designed it herself from the vision she received from God. This white banner that she rode in front of the army with, that's what she held high, was the banner. And this is what I'm staring at in the Sun card, is this child, the embodiment of invincible innocence that the sun is blazing upon. The sunflowers are all turned to the child. The horse is staring straight forward. Everything is in the direction of the innocence moving forward. Everything is at the back of the invincible innocence of the child beneath the sun, moving forward with arms open to a bright future. That was the invincible innocence of Joan that trusted the divine consciousness flowing through her, that led to the freedom of France. This is the same invincible innocence that we are being initiated into during this full moon eclipse, as we embrace being the bridge of the High Priestess between an old paradigm and this new sovereign paradigm. We each ride with our banners held high, embodying the invincible innocence, the knowledge that this sovereign paradigm is coming because it already exists within each of us, choosing to rise up and embody this Christ consciousness every day. It's already done because you have said, yes, thank you, I accept, I receive. I am the light, the power, the radiance of divinity in human form. Even as I shake in my boots, I step up to this mic of life and I lead, I rise. I am willing to be seen. I am willing to explore the unknowable because what is unknown is full of goodness and sovereign potential that this matrix world has not seen yet. But I come as the bearer of good news of what is to come. The messenger, the sun is the messenger. You are the messenger. We are the messenger. And so I welcome the radiance of Hathor, which between her and Green Tara, I don't even understand how to explain the brilliance of their light. So I also welcome Green Tara and Hathor, these two Maha ancient key codes stepping forward for this final activation. As Joan raises her banner to bless you from above, waving this banner over you like a rainbow across your crown. I witness Hathor and Green Tara bringing their hands above you and opening up a field of light that is downloading and upgrading your ability to receive the profound shifts that are happening right here, right now, as this alignment between the sun, the moon, and the earth comes to a peaked, intense magnetic intensity. As Sophia shared at the beginning of this prayer call, how will you allow the eclipse to happen within your own body now? There's a reason why this prayer collective call was scheduled right before the full total lunar eclipse. You may begin to feel like double helix light waves coming down through the top of your crown chakra and down the back of your head. And then down both shoulders, like Guardian Tara is on your right shoulder, Hathor is on your left shoulder, and they're helping to weave this interstellar transmission. This is an eyes to see, ears to hear activation. So welcome those of you who are in resistance to your Star Nation families, to your Star Nation lineages. They're saying this eclipse is helping to peel back the inner eyes and the inner ears so that you can hear and understand and know the direct coordinates that are being given to you right now. Many people are being asked to relocate, to move, or to travel. There's a lot of grid work happening with the crystalline structure of light work, of the bodies of light workers that are being positioned, repositioned, recalibrated on different parts of the earth in this unusual opening for travel, this unusual opening of realignment. And they're saying this is a big reason why we're being called to Paris right now. I shared in one of my YouTube lives, I had a vision now at this point 5 months ago that I would get on a plane and fly to Paris in June. And I said, Sophia, God of my heart, if this vision is true, may it come to be, may it come to pass, but thy will be done, not mine, because I will never make a medical decision to ever do anything like that. And I know you know that. And I trust that this vision will unfold. And 1 month from tonight, I will be standing there in Paris with you. And what Hathor and Green Tara are invoking for you to recognize in this, individual story about what we're all going through collectively is that when you are asked to be somewhere, they say check in 3 times, and if you receive 3 times, go. Don't question. go. Ask for 3 physical signs. They're sharing that this download that you're receiving is helping you to ground your cosmic understanding and how you can move from that divine knowing in a more fluid way. And so in this closing of this prayer collective transmission, they're inviting you to consider, what would life feel like if you were to start living in that sovereign paradigm now, because you deserve to, because you're already the bridge that's bringing others into that future reality. They're saying, what would it feel like to live with less resistance to what you already know is true for you, not for everyone else yet? If they have not arrived to the sovereign paradigm within them yet, it's not true for them yet. But this is part of being the bridge, living the bridge, transfiguring from the old paradigm into the new paradigm within you. Lean into this eclipse and allow the resistances to who you really are, what you deserve to receive, where you're being called to go, to flow into you like the waters within this moon card, the waters of this High Priestess's robe that's flowing over this crescent moon, and to flow and to follow the rays of the sun that are in this sun card with your banner held high. Isis is saying, live as though you are blessed, because you are. Allow this total lunar eclipse to eclipse the doubts of the past and to claim the truth of your sovereign divinity as we co-create great hope, great light, and most importantly, a new sovereign paradigm of faith that you will be living in such a complete way over the next few years that your definition of faith is actually going to change. You will know that faith is living with certainty in who you already are, not in what is becoming. And so it is. Holy Mother, Sophia God, thank you so much for this living transmission of the Sophia Code. Thank you for this living Sangha of our community worldwide. Thank you for all of the ways that you are preparing our body, hearts, and minds for so many sovereign soul activations across this year as we continue to study and ready our hearts for so much service and so many opportunities to walk souls from the matrix of slavery into this consecrated paradigm of sovereignty. Thank you for your blessings, your protection, your grace, prospering us now and always as we traverse and transfigure and allow ourselves to receive your holy presence shining through us like never before in the coming days, weeks, and months. Amen. I want to thank the Sophia Dragon Tribe and all the Ascended Masters, and of course, your higher self for participating in tonight's full moon, total lunar eclipse celebration. It's been an honor and a privilege to pray with you, to meditate with you, and to share with you this evening. I have a very special announcement. We finally found the right people to go live, both virtually and of course on stage in Paris. So tonight I have a special announcement. If you cannot join us live in person in Paris, which I pray that you can, but if you cannot, please join us through the virtual access pass, which through a series of very fortunate events is now available on my website at kaiara.com. We will be able to connect with you physically through this extraordinary team's willingness to live stream Paris for us. And that link is in the live chat, where you can visit my website right now at kaiara.com and get those live stream passes for Paris. So excited that we get to do this together. I'll be channeling Joan of Arc live along with Mary Magdalene in Paris, and I hope you can be with us. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful, blessed, wondrous experience of this total eclipse. We'll see you all next month. for the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective, which will be broadcasted live from France after our ceremony on the 15th. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful night. Namaste.